In the wee hours of the morning before you woke up, the moon did a little high five with Pluto and then jumped into Aquarius. And what that means is that on an emotional level, you might wake up and remember some sort of dream about either empowerment or maybe feeling disempowered. It might have been something positive and inspiring, or it might have been some sort of a nightmare, but the common theme would have been power and control, maybe even shadow. Those are all the things that Pluto represents, but as the day begins, the moon in Aquarius allows us to get a little bit of distance from the things that were weighing us down. When the moon is in Aquarius, the water bearer, it's a person, it's represented by a person who's kind of holding this pitcher of water. Water is your emotions. And so when the moon is in Aquarius, the moon represents our emotions, and it's kind of like being able to hold your emotions out here and go, would you look at that? Right? So whatever kind of sleep you got, the deep thoughts that you find yourself in this morning are going to be along the lines of, how can I become independent from all that I fear, all that I'm running from, all that makes me feel lost, right? So maybe some deep thoughts to start your day, but it should actually be a pretty good day. When the moon is in Aquarius, like I said, it's way easier to not be overwhelmed by whatever it is that's going on in your life. So I feel two cards coming out here. Here we go. And what we have today is the Page of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords. So the Eight of Swords always makes me think of that Shakespeare quote. You know, everybody knows the to be or not to be, that is the question, right? Well, it keeps going, and part of it after that goes, whether it is nobler to suffer the slings and arrows of thy fellow man, or oppose them, and in opposing them end them. So this makes me think of that, because suffering the slings and arrows of thy fellow man represents kind of being on the receiving end of some sort of abuse. And the Eight of Swords, we see somebody pictured who looks like they're a prisoner, right? They look stuck. The binding around them is quite loose though, and we start to question, okay, what's going on here? Eight of Swords represents being stuck in a mental prison. See how her eyes are covered? And so also the third eye. Here we see someone, I pull this card consistently when somebody has either been or still is in an abusive relationship, like verbally or emotionally abusive, because what you end up doing is kind of walking on eggshells, hoping not to suffer any more slings and arrows, right? So what's happening here is we see somebody very, very stuck, and there's an emotional component, and the orange represents the concept of safety and a direction of self-preservation. So obviously, as anybody who's ever been in an abusive relationship will tell you, it is not as simple as walking away, but sometimes the biggest thing that has to change is our perspective, and then we start looking for an exit door. And sometimes even after an abusive situation, we're still stuck with the abuser in our head, or sometimes this card represents beating ourselves up. Either way, any of these self-defeating thoughts, any of these situations in which someone makes us question our reality or our self-worth, these things kind of cause life to come to a full stop, and nothing grows, nothing thrives. It's survival mode. Whereas the Page of Pentacles here is looking at this coin. This is the ultimate be here now card, about being present, being grateful, being focused on healthy things, and putting our energy into that which is going to grow and thrive and feed us in the long term. So what a contrast here, right? And in these two cards, we see an indication that if we can kind of get a bit of distance, like the moon in Aquarius holding our emotions out a little bit. If you can get a little bit of a distance, you might be able to make sense of why you feel stuck. Sometimes it means that we are the ones getting ourselves stuck, but if it's an external force, definitely it's time to look for an exit door, right? Sending you guys all of my love. I hope you're able to find some clarity, some answers, and some peace today. I hope you get some distance from all that overwhelms you, and I wish you all the very best. I'm Erin, I'm Queen Bee Tarot. Thank you for being here, and I will see you tomorrow.